Good evening, everybody. It's very good to be here. Good evening to Érica, Ian, Jorge, José Cauã, João Romeu, Georgina, Caio, Lucas, Bruno, Rodolfo, Henrique, Hugo, Aimee, Felipe, Kleberson, Pedro, Guilherme, Susan, David, Yuri, Pedro Ferreira, Adelmo, Eric, João Cavalcante, Rayane, Mário Lucas e eu. All right, everybody, it's very good to be here. I'm very excited to start this class. I'm going to be talking mostly in English, mas aqui e ali eu vou enlouquecer a inteligência artificial, porque eu mandei ela fazer as legendas em inglês e de tempos em tempos eu solto o português. Olha lá a miséria que ele faz na hora que eu começo a falar em português. Tá dando para ver como é que fica a legenda toda dançada? Vocês estão vendo a legenda? Can you guys see the subtitles on your screen?
Eu não estou, professor. Não sei se tem que apertar o botão específico.
I thought it was working. I can see it here, but you can't, right? You can't see the subtitles under the screen, can you?
No caso, a gente tem que ativar para começar a aparecer.
Oh, you guys can. You need to start that up, right? Vocês precisam apertar esses 3 pontinhos aí, gente, ó. E aí colocar ativar legendas. And then you can click on that and you choose the idiom, the language. Yes, there we go, David. Thank you. So it's like an individual option, right? Each person has to choose to watch with subtitles, if you want, right? Okay, but then again, let's leave the technology for a while and let's talk about the behavior economics of global affairs. Everybody, this is great. I'm very, very happy. We have like 37 students in this class. 37 pessoas, eu acho que é um novo recorde. It's very good to be here. Also, because we have students from economics and from consumption studies or something like that. Ciências do consumo e economia. It is quite possible that we have some students from business administration too. É bem provável que a gente tenha alguns alunos de ciências de administração também, tá, gente? Eu acho que já foi incluído lá nas opções deles para fazerem como optativas. All right, so for those of you who do not know me, my name is Luis Maia. I'm a professor here at UFRPE. I've been here since 2007. So it's like 16 years working at UFRPE. I love this school. This is the place I've been most of my life, my working life. This is the company or the organization for which I have worked the most, right? I have worked before at UNB, Universidade de Brasília, and I also have worked at North Carolina State University, Universidade Estadual da Carolina do Norte, in Raleigh, United States. But then again, here we are, and we have this class in English. And you may ask yourself, why? Por que diabo que o Luiz resolveu lecionar uma disciplina em inglês? So here's the thing. First, I asked these guys, I wanted to teach in English. And people at our school said, why you want to do that? I said, you know what? I know English. I want to practice my English. And I think that students should also practice their English. I mean, you guys have been studying English since like 2nd grade or something like that. And all of a sudden, you get into college and then you drop it? It doesn't make any sense, right? Faz menor sentido uma pessoa que estudou inglês a sua vida inteira chegar na universidade e parar de fazer inglês, ou parar de ter alguma exposição em inglês. This is the moment you need English the most, right? You guys are going to read stuff from all over the world, and you have to learn, and I don't know, 90% of the knowledge in the world is in English. So we have to practice English, right? É uma grande diferença. Even though we have now artificial intelligence, which very soon will be able to translate and even to add voice in a different language to a video like this. So in a few years, maybe a few months, we may have like technology that I speak in English and you guys see me and listen to me speaking in Portuguese. It's just a matter of time, right? Essas coisas estão avançando muito rápido. But we still have to, to practice another language. And that's very good for your brain. This is the kind of activity that excites your brain, that makes things happen in there. You get like a faster reasoning and you expand your vocabulary. So there are very good reasons to talk in English and to speak in English, okay? So I said, I want to do that. And people told me, you can't. And I said, why I can't teach in English? And they said, well, it's because you can only teach classes in English when it's like for graduate school, when it's like, pós-graduação. Then you can teach in English. And I said, why? Where do you have that thing written down? E eles falaram, não tem lugar escrito em lugar nenhum, não. Eu falei, então pronto, então eu vou escrever um pedido de autorização. Vocês vão ter que pôr no papel que eu não posso escrever, não posso dar aula em inglês. So, long story, short story, it ended up, they said, okay, we're going to give it a try. So you can start. So like 5 years ago, they said, yeah, Luis, you can have like a pilot. We are going to see how it goes, if people like it. We don't think that students will come. It turns out that they show up every semester. And then they said, I don't think they're going to get good grades. And I said, no problem, because the tests are bilingual, right? You can answer the questions in Portuguese or in English. Every single question will be presented to you both in English and in Portuguese. And you can answer with whatever language you will want. And I even make a commitment to you. If you guys want to answer the tests in Spanish or in French, German, whatever, I'm going to grade it. The point is, I want you guys to exercise your abilities, okay? Então, os testes são em português e em inglês. Então, os alunos acabam tirando ótimas notas. É muito raro alguém reprovar nessa disciplina, tá? So, that's what we said. And then you may ask me, so what about this behavior economics? What is this thing about? And I have to talk a little bit about this, both because some of you are not economists or are not training to become an economist, and also because some of you are in economics, but you have not gone through some of the major classes in economics. Então, eu preciso explicar essa história de economia comportamental bem devagarzinho, com todo cuidado, que alguns de vocês não são economistas ou não estão estudando economia, estão estudando ciência do consumo e outros cursos, e alguns de vocês, ainda que estejam cursando economia, ainda não fizeram microeconomia 1 e 2. So, it looks kind of strange when you get behavior economics before that, but it's not a big deal. And I will explain to you why, okay? So what is behavior economics? Behavior economics, economia comportamental, this is a recent branch of the economic theory. It's very 30, 40 years ago. It's just started, okay? So behavior economics is basically our recognition, our understanding that we are not as rational as we usually assume in most of the economic models. A maioria dos modelos da economia assumem que nós somos racionais. E nós somos racionais, mas não é exatamente aquela racionalidade do livro-texto. It turns out that the way our brain works is fundamentally constructed. It was fundamentally constructed to operate in a very specific environment, which is not the place we live today. O nosso cérebro foi desenvolvido num ambiente muito específico. Por 300 mil anos, 300,000 years, we lived in the African savanna. And now we live in an environment completely different. So some of the things that we got here are not exactly to live in a city like Recife. Algumas coisas que a gente tem no funcionamento do cérebro humano são muito característicos de quem vive numa selva. E não de quem vive em cidades, né? Grandes cidades como a cidade do Recife. All right, so the first thing is this. We want to have like a better understanding of how people actually make choices. Not as we assume they should make choices, okay? So most of the conventional economic models, they say, okay, individuals are rational, which means they do not make mistakes systematically. So they can make mistakes, but once they realize they made mistakes, they go back and try to fix it. And then in behavior economics, we say, no, we don't. We can make mistakes like 600 times in a row and still make mistakes. So in paraphrasing a very important behavior economist, we make mistakes systematically, but the way he says that we are predictably irrational. Nós somos previsivelmente irracionais numa série de situações. And then you may ask yourself, okay, so I understand the point. Yeah, you're trying to go deeper in a more likely, a more reasonable description of the human brain and the human decisions, right? Yeah, okay, so that makes sense. But some people may ask, come on, Luis, is this not just a curiosity? I mean, people, most of the times, they make rational choices. So one may ask, like, this is not that important. And then I will give you a very important piece of information right now. It turns out that some of the most fundamental choices that we make in life, they are surrounded by a bunch of conditions in which our brain fails. So think about this. Some of the most important decisions we make, for example, they involve uncertainty. They involve probabilities. And we can show you scientifically, it doesn't matter if you got a PhD in mathematics or if you are Chinese, German, or from Paraguay. It doesn't matter where you are from. It doesn't matter how much schooling you had. You still make mistakes. So we are talking about some big deals here. Think about it, for example, the way people save for retirement. Na verdade, a maneira como as pessoas não poupam o suficiente para a aposentadoria. This is not a Brazilian thing. It happens in the United States, it happened in France, it happens in Yugoslavia. So any place in the world, people have a hard time saving money enough for their retirement period. So what's going on here? Can you tell me that this is like a universal problem? So how can we understand that? Better yet, how can we help people making better choices? All right, so here's what we are talking about. The behavior economics of global affairs is a class about how we can help people making better choices. This is a good description. A gente vai estudar aqui como que a gente ajuda as pessoas a fazerem melhores escolhas. Is this making sense at this point? By the way, thanks Caio, thanks Susan, because you guys keep your your faces up there, so I don't feel the impression I'm talking to the computer. Tá fazendo sentido, pessoal? Esse início, essa introdução?
At the moment, everything's okay.
This is
Tá
great.
sim.
Very thankful, Pedro. That's
Very
very
good.
good. I'm happy that you guys can understand. I know that. I know that many of you feel afraid that you're not going to understand. But at this point, you have realized that I speak very slowly, right? I don't talk like watching radio in the United States. So it makes easier for you to connect the expressions, remember some of the sentences, and then things make sense. Mas, de toda forma, de tempos em tempos, eu dou uma paradinha e volto para o português um pouquinho para saber que está todo mundo me acompanhando, tá? Now, let's see if we can practice this a little bit. You guys probably know this Google Meet better than I do. But let's make a test here. Please try and raise your hand, clicking the button in your screen there. Let me see how many of you can do that. All right, you guys know this, right? Great. Thanks. This is what you guys should do when you have any trouble, when you don't hear something, or if you want me to go back and explain something, just raise your hand, okay? Or actually, you can just open up your mic and start talking. Pessoal, isso aqui não é uma aula cheia de formalidades, isso aqui não é uma aula difícil, isso aqui não é uma aula para te colocar num teste de vida ou morte, que agora você vai decidir se você está bem ou se não está bem no seu inglês. That's not what we're going to have here. We are going to be talking, and I promise you it's going to be fun, okay? I know all professors say the same thing. Oh, yeah, my class is going to be easy. It's going to be fun. And then the tests come and people are starting getting stressed out and things like that. But no, I promise you, this is going to be fun and it's going to be easy. O mais importante que a gente está praticando aqui, gente, é a atitude. All right, so let me say this in English and in Portuguese. You guys know that if someone is competent, it means the person has three things. If you are a competent professional, you have knowledge, you have abilities, skills, and you have the right attitude, okay? Para uma pessoa ser um profissional competente, ela precisa ter conhecimento, ela precisa ter habilidades e ela precisa ter atitude. Now, check this out. In this class, with 27 people and myself here, I know and I can prove to you that I have the best students at Rural. Let's check this, okay? First, most of you here know more English than your fellow students. So you guys have at some point a little bit more knowledge and you have skills that other people don't have. Now, this is an optional class. You don't have to take this class, but you came to take a class in which the teacher will speak in a different language than yours. That means you guys have the right attitude, okay? So if you guys have more knowledge than your colleagues, if you have some skills that other people don't have, and if you have the right attitude, I teach to the best students at Rural. You see? Because it's optional, I know that none of you is forced to be here, right? You don't have to be here. You chose to be here, and that's very important information for me. All right. Let's talk a little bit about our class, how it's going to work, and some of the points that we have to pay attention to, okay? All right, guys, today's Friday, and we are meeting for the first time. But for 90% of this semester, we're going to meet on Wednesdays. And it's not going to be on the first period of the night, okay? It's always going to be at the second moment of the night. So on Wednesdays at 20 and 10. All right? Todas by the way, there's a good book in the topic, Errornomics, Why We Make Mistakes. Oh, this is good. A gente vai tentar se encontrar, gente, toda quarta-feira. A gente está fazendo uma exceção nesta semana, porque a gente teve aí um monte de atividades, eu inclusive, nessa primeira semana de aula. Eu ensino para disciplina de Economia 1, né? E é uma semana importante de recepção dos calouros. Eu também tinha outras atividades, além da rural, que acabaram atrapalhando a nossa quarta-feira. But, usually, we are going to have classes only on Wednesdays. So, these meetings will occur only once a week on Wednesdays. So, you may ask me, oh, come on, so we're not going to have classes on Friday anymore? Okay, so this is the difference. On Wednesday, we are going to be together. On Fridays, I'm going to give you something to work on, ok? Nas sextas-feiras, eu vou passar para vocês ou um trecho de um filme no YouTube, ou uma leitura, ou uma lista de exercícios para vocês trabalharem. And you can do that the way you want. You can work together, you can work in groups, you can work by yourself, you can check the answers any place you want. Please try and avoid using ChatGPT. But I know that some of you will use it. I don't know. It happens all the time. But the point is, on Wednesdays, we are going to be together. And on Fridays, you guys will have some task to perform, some kind of exercise to do, okay? So that's going to be the way things are going to work. And every other week, we are going to have at least one list of exercises. Então, olha só, essa é uma parte tão importante que eu vou falar em português também. A cada 2 semanas, eu vou soltar uma listinha de exercícios. E essa lista de exercícios é a prova de vocês. And then you're going to say, oh God, no, we're going to have tests all the time. Wait. I'm telling you that this is going to be stress-free, okay? This is going to be a class completely rid of stress. So how it will work? I'm going to post this list of exercises. It's a short list of 10 exercises. They are multiple choices, so you just have to click one of the options that we have there. This list of exercises will be always bilingual, so you have the question in Portuguese and in English, and you're going to have like 4 or 5 days, including at least one weekend to work on any list of exercises, ok? Então, cada lista de exercícios que eu soltar para vocês a cada 2 semanas, ela vai estar em português e em inglês. Vocês vão basicamente fazer múltipla escolha, fazer opções de 10 exercícios. E eu nunca vou mandar uma lista que vocês têm que devolver as respostas sem que haja pelo menos um final de semana no meio do caminho. So you can take your time. You don't have to hurry through the questions. And there's this important information too. So how are we going to take this lists and calculate your grades, okay? So let me explain to you. Will the exercises be our A1 and A2? I don't know, Mateus. I don't know exactly what you mean by that. What is A1 and A2? Do you mean like VA e VA1 e VA2? Is that what you mean? All right, so great, good question. Let me explain how it goes. All right, every 2 weeks, you're gonna have a list, right? So in 8 weeks, you will have solved 4 lists of exercises, okay? As soon as you guys complete 4 lists of exercises, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take for each person, gonna take the lowest grade in 4 lists and I'm gonna drop it. I'm gonna forget it. So I'm gonna average out your grades on the 3 best performances that you had. Então você faz 4 listas de exercícios, pronto, aquilo ali vai ser a base do seu cálculo da VA. Mas aí eu vou pegar para cada pessoa a lista que ele tirou a pior nota, vou jogar fora e vou tirar a média das outras 3. Okay? So what I'm telling you is like anyone can have a bad day, right? I'm not going to take that into consideration. I'm going to take the average of the 3 best scores that you guys got. Okay? All right. So this is going to be your first VA. A primeira VA vai ser as primeiras 4 listas, joga uma fora, tira a média das outras 3. For the second half of the semester, same thing. You're going to have 4 other lists of exercises. You guys will score your grades. I'm going to drop the lowest one and average the other 3. And that's going to be your grade for the second VA. And by then, 90% of you will have a passing grade. And I'm going to say, enjoy your recess. Take it easy. I'll see you next semester or something like that. Some of you will still need to go through some more exams. So if you don't get a good grade in these 2 calculations, then you're going to have the third VA or terceira VA. And what is the third VA? Well, in this case, I'm going to take questions from all the 8 lists of exercises. I'm going to pick some of them, and I'm going to have a longer test for you. It's going to be 20 questions in this case. So then I'm going to give those to you. You're still going to have some time to work on your own, on your home, and a few days later, you're going to press the button, submit your grades, and that's going to be submit your answers, and that's going to be how I will calculate the grade for terceira VA. And if even then you don't get enough grades to pass, then you're going to have same thing, 20 questions exam, you take them home, you work on them easily, and then you submit a few days later, and then we have the grade for your final, okay? Now, I will be very frank to you, okay? With you. If a person doesn't pass this class, there is always the case that people don't show up. É a única maneira de realmente você reprovar numa disciplina como essa. É só se você não comparecer. Se você não estiver acompanhando as aulas, não estiver assistindo o vídeo das aulas quando você perder a aula, aí você chega lá, vê a lista de exercícios, você nunca ouviu falar daquelas questões, mesmo em português, elas não fazem sentido para você. But then again, except from that circumstances, well, people pass. The questions are easy, and they are supposed to be easy because they are just kind of checking if you remember the stuff that we have discussed. Which other subjects do you teach? João is asking. All right, João, I teach the first class that people take when they get in economics. That is like an introduction to economics or something like that. But we call it Economics 1, Economia 1. I teach that class. I teach this one, the Behavioral Economics of Global Affairs. And I teach one class for masters, or actually I teach 2 classes for masters. One is like Public Finance, eu ensino finanças públicas no mestrado profissional, e ensino num outro mestrado, que eu sou até o coordenador, eu ensino políticas públicas e comportamento. But then it's like we're still working on behavior economics, but then I'm teaching how people should develop policies, how the government should develop policies that would be more effective than the ones we have today. So let me just give you an example, okay? If you want people to have better nutrition, you can lower taxes on some kind of food, or you can just teach them how to eat healthy when they're very, very young. Which of the two do you think we guys do the most? Qual das duas coisas que você acha que no Brasil a gente faz mais? A gente, quando está preocupado das pessoas se alimentarem melhor, comerem bem, o que a gente faz? A gente barateia os alimentos da cesta de consumo das pessoas, tirando impostos, ou a gente ensina as pessoas em idade muito novinhas a comerem melhor? Which one do you think Brazil does the most? Qual que vocês acham que é mais comum no Brasil? Yeah, what we do is like we take some taxes out of some products. Not all of them, but we do. Então, a nossa cesta básica tem alguns produtos que têm tributação um pouco mais baixa. But we don't do what is most important and most effective, which has been observed all over the world. If you teach kids to eat healthy, they are much, much more inclined to keep doing so when they get adult, when they become adults. Então, se a gente trabalhar, por exemplo, consumo de vegetais, de legumes com crianças bem novinhas, elas desenvolvem o paladar mais cedo, elas passam a gostar de tomate, cenoura e tal. This is possible, believe me. Some parents don't believe us, but it happens all over the world. So this is like the way we develop policies, and we should take behavior economics into consideration. So that's the other class I teach for a master program too. Então, respondendo a pergunta do João, eu ensino Economia 1, ensino essa disciplina aqui, e ensino 2 outras disciplinas de mestrado na Rural. All right. Any questions so far? Are we good? Very nice, very nice. You guys can hear me well? Am I talking too loud? How is it? My microphone, is it okay? Deixa eu ver se alguém colocou alguma coisa aqui no chat. Matheus, João, tá dizendo que tá tudo certinho. Obrigado, pessoal. All right, sounds interesting. Ações sempre de curto prazo. It's fine, it's okay. It's a good sound. All right, great. I love this thing, you know, about editing videos, preparing media, this kind of stuff. I'm not that good at it, but I love it. I love to do it. So if you search for me online, you're going to see some videos, you're going to see some talks, and you're probably going to hear me at CBN every day at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If you turn in the radio, you're going to listen like 2 minutes economics discussion every day, talking to Aldo Vilela at CBN. This is more like an educational initiative, okay? All right, so let's get back here to our subject. So I explained to you what we're going to do, what is behavior economics, and I've talked to you about the exams. So if I were you, what would I be thinking? Oh yeah, I would be thinking something like this. Hey Luis, do we have to read lots of stuff in your class? Are we going to have like a book or manual or something that we're going to follow and like chapter by chapter? So I have good news and bad news. The bad news is that I can't find a very good book in behavior economics, a single book that will discuss all the things that we need, okay? We don't have such a book at this point. in my opinion. So this is the bad news. So what is the good news? Well, every single class that we have here, we're going to have class notes. I prepared class notes for you, and I'm going to give them to you. So all you need to read are the class notes, okay? You can read way more things, and I'm going to suggest some of those things, okay? Eu vou sugerir algumas leituras para completar, mas o que você precisa ler mesmo, eu vou dar. Vão ser fichas de aula. Vou colocar à disposição para vocês e a gente vai ter um Google Classroom em que você vai encontrar tudinho lá. Todas as fichas de aula de todo o curso. Assim que eu for passando a disciplina, eu vou colocando mais uma. Lá vocês vão encontrar o link para todos os exames, todas as listas de exercício, também vai estar tudo lá. Lá vai ter o link para cada aula que a gente fez, ou gravada assim simultaneamente, ou gravada à distância para vocês assistirem depois. Então vai estar tudo organizadinho ali no Google Classroom, você vai poder ver tudinho, tá? In order to do that, I'm going to have to get your email, and we're going to pass a list later on. I'm going to pick up your emails and I'm going to try and invite you to this Google Classroom, ok? Então, nos próximos dias, pessoal, eu vou compartilhar aí um convite para vocês entrarem no Google Classroom. E aí, obviamente, você vai ter que colocar um e-mail, uma conta do Gmail, alguma coisa assim. E lá vocês vão encontrar tudinho. Vai estar todas as fichas de aula, todos os links para as aulas, os vídeos todos gravados, os exercícios com as datas de entrega, vai estar tudinho explicado por lá. All right? So, yeah, it's pretty straightforward, you know? It's no rocket science here. It's going to be easy and it's going to be fun. Now, let me just do something here. I'm going to open up another screen and I'm going to share with you our SIGA. Just a minute, please. Okay, so let me share this thing here with you. The behavior economics of global affairs. Now, I know that many of you, if not all of you, have already checked SIGA for this class. But let's take a look there and see if I forgot to tell you something. Can you guys confirm to me that you can see the screen? Behavior Economics of Global Affairs, the SIGA screen. Estão vendo, pessoal? Eu não estou vendo o rosto de vocês. Por favor, alguém abre o microfone aí e fala para mim.
Dá para ver sim.
Estamos sim, professor.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, guys. So here we go. So we have here an invitation for the chat group. We have here the link in which all of our classes will happen. And I have here suggestions for something you to read. I don't know if you guys have read that, but I'm not going to check at this point. It's just a suggestion, okay? And then you have all the things that will be discussed throughout the semester. But this is not exactly the most important part of it. I'm going here to say plano do curso. Let's take a look at this. So here I'm telling you that we're going to have some material on Fridays, and we're going to have our meetings on Wednesdays, just like I told you before. What else? Well, here's our main goal, o objetivo geral. We want to discuss some of the global challenges of the 21st century from the perspective of behavior economics. Então, a gente quer discutir alguns dos grandes problemas globais sob a perspectiva da economia comportamental. So you may ask me, what exactly you mean by challenges? What kind of challenges that we're going to discuss here? So let me see if I can show you. Objetivo geral, plano de ensino remoto, bibliografia. I thought that I had put it here. No, wait. Maybe here. Oh, yeah. Challenge of society. This is the same thing. Well, let me just give you these examples, okay? So we're going to talk about some individual challenges. I told you before, people have a hard time saving for retirement. Então, as pessoas têm dificuldade de poupar, seja para o futuro, em geral, seja para o período de aposentadoria. Esse é um desafio. And why is that a challenge? Well, because it's a global problem and because our society is getting older. Então, esse é um problema que não só é um problema mundial, acontece em todo canto, como a nossa sociedade está ficando mais velha no mundo inteiro. E as pessoas não estão poupando. Parece um monte de gente que depois vai ficar dependente. So this is like a huge problem. But this is the example of an individual problem. Now, let me give you another kind of challenge that we are going to discuss. So most of the companies now are kind of having to revise what they do, to rethink what they do. Sustainability is not an option anymore. So all businesses are changing. Some of them, well, the changes are small and kind of easy, but for some other kinds of business, changes will be very, very hard. They will have to make very tough choices. We are going to talk about those. So then we're talking about organizational challenges. And then finally, we're going to talk about huge societal problems. Things like migration, things like prejudice and discrimination. So those are bigger problems. They're bigger than an individual perspective. They're very much larger than simple organizational challenges. We're talking about societal problems. Sorry, it wouldn't come out. And those are harder. I mean, sometimes you're going to see that there are like cultural dynamics at play. We have norms, we have laws, and some of those are very hard to change. And then we are going to talk about those too. We have climate change, we're going to discuss here. We have poverty and inequality. This is not a problem only in Brazil. This is a world problem, okay? So we are going to discuss all of them, all of these issues from the perspective of behavior economics. And I'm going to tell you, give you a hint of what is coming, you know? Sometimes we think that we analyze those challenges and it's easy to get skeptical. It's easy to get pessimistic about the future. We just end up saying, you know what? Human beings are not that great. We are too greedy. We are too disorganized. Things are not okay. So what I'm going to try to show you is that the problems that we face, they have this kind of cognitive aspect. And it's much bigger than you think. So what I'm trying to say is that many, many times people make the wrong decisions, not entirely because they want it. Many, many times people make wrong decisions because they are not prepared to see all the aspects of the decision-making process. So we're going to show you this. Nós vamos mostrar para vocês que se a gente consertar, se a gente conseguir superar alguns desses obstáculos cognitivos, ou seja, de como as pessoas interpretam a decisão, a gente pode fazer com que decisões sejam muito melhores, sem que a gente faça uma lobotomia e queira mudar, formatar a cabeça de ninguém, tá? Sem que a gente queira forçar uma visão de ninguém. Sometimes people say, you know what, we have to change the human beings. And I think this is scary, you know. We are not here to form or to format brains. What we are here to do is to try to help people making better choices for themselves, not for me, not for you, not for anyone else. So this is like a good description of what we're going to discuss. Faz sentido, pessoal? A gente aqui não vai estudar como mudar o ser humano, tá? A gente vai estudar como que a gente ajuda o ser humano a fazer melhores escolhas. A gente não vai garantir que dá certo. There's a very good example. I love to talk about this example. At some societies in Europe, if you were born, for example, if you were born in Austria compared when you were born in Germany, well, those countries have the same history, culture, very similar. They speak the same language. They have the same level of technology. They have a common culture. Anything. Anyway, they are very similar in many, many aspects. But in one of these countries, if you are born there, you are an organ donor just by being born there. In the other case, when you are born, you are not an organ donor. You can become one if you sign up some places, okay? So it's just like the default. O padrão em um dos países é assim: nasceu, você já é um doador de órgãos. O outro é assim: nasceu, você não é um doador de órgãos. So we know this because this is kind of a recent stuff. Just this change make a huge difference. Even though you give people the choice if they want to donate their organs or not, in both cases, you are free to change. And it's not that hard. You just have to fill out a form and send to some governmental agency, ok? Simplesmente porque você colocou como padrão em um país que ao nascer você já é doador de órgãos e no outro país, ao você nascer, você não é doador de órgãos, a diferença é brutal. In one of these countries, organ donation is like 80% of the people. They are born as organ donors and they don't change it. In the other case, they are born not as organ donors. They have to opt in if they want. And only 20-25% of the people do. So you may ask yourself, so people are that different? No, they are not. Is it that hard to change? No, it is not. So what's going on here? You know what's going on? People don't like to talk about death. That's the problem. Se eu chamar você para falar assim, olha, Eric, queria ter uma conversa contigo sobre assim, quando você morrer, a gente vai doar seus órgãos ou não vai doar? Você vai olhar para mim e falar assim, what the heck, Luiz? It's Friday night. Give me a break. I don't want to talk about dying on a Friday night. Leave it. We can talk about that later. I don't know, maybe when I'm 50, 60 years old or something like that. As pessoas não querem discutir um assunto como esse. É um assunto chato, é um assunto delicado, é um assunto que às vezes esbarra em religiosidade, em medo. Né? E se eu estiver passando mal no hospital e o cara for lá roubar meu órgão? Yeah, I know, it's scary, right? But the point is, the subject is hard. The choice is not that hard. When someone make the right choice for you, and they give you the option, if you want, you can change it. It turns out that most of the people don't change that option. They end up realizing that it is a good option. All right? So this is the kind of thing we want to do. We want to help the world, help people making better choices just by understanding what exactly is going on. Okay? What is going on here? in their brains, either when they make the decisions by themselves or when they make decisions looking at each other. You want to ask a question, Aine?
Bora! Oxi.
Oi? Abriu seu microfone. I think it was accidental, right? All right. Good, good, good. So let me see if I have anything else here to show you no plano de curso. Sem problema, Aimee, acontece nas melhores famílias. Don't worry. Let me just see here if we have anything else to make a comment. Oh yeah. You guys are supposed to show up, okay? I'm not going to be that strict with, checking attendance, but you guys are supposed to show up. And if you don't, you may get an absence, ok? Cada vez que vocês logam nessa sala, gente, eu recebo um relatório lá no meu e-mail dizendo de quem participou e quem não participou. Então, assim, se lá no final, alguém que está tirando notas muito ruins porque não vem para a sala, vier para mim e falar assim, não, o problema não sou eu não, é sua prova e tal. Aí eu vou lá e vou buscar a sua presença e vou ver que você não participou. Então, não acontece muito não, mas eu posso reprovar você se você faltar demais, tá? I don't want to do that, but yeah, it's not my option. This is a university policy, okay? All right. What else? Let me see if there's anything else here I want to mention. Oh yeah, the exercises, it's all written here. Here you have the dates when the exams will be on, but we are going to talk about those as we move along, okay? What else? Oh yeah, let me talk a little bit about books. There is one good book, but it's not like a manual. You can find it in Portuguese. Então, existe esse livro aqui, ó, gente, Guia de Economia Comportamental Experimental. You can find it online. It is free. And when I say it's free, I'm not saying you can steal it. I'm saying it is actually free, okay? It is available to anyone. Foi traduzido por duas professoras da USP, uma se chama Flávia Ávila, outra se chama Ana Maria Bianchi. Eu conheci pessoalmente a Ana Maria Bianchi, é uma grande professora lá da USP. A Flávia Ávila, ela é uma boa professora, mas ela está mais interessada em ganhar dinheiro e tal. Ela faz uns comerciais da Heineken, montou uma consultoria dela lá para ganhar dinheiro e tal. Nothing against that, but she's not that great a teacher as Ana Maria Bianchi, okay? But then again, yeah, you can look at that. The other books that I have there, they are also available at Minha Biblioteca. Guys, I have to tell you that Minha Biblioteca is very, very good. You can find many good books there. I know people don't read these days, but you should. And go ahead and check, okay? I show here at least 3 good books about behavior economics that you can find at Minha Biblioteca. Então, sendo bastante explícito aqui, tá, gente? Ninguém precisa ler nada para fazer essa aula. Mas deveria. Para acompanhar bem a aula, as fichas de aula são mais que suficientes. Está tudo lá, não vai ter uma pergunta em nenhuma prova que não esteja nas fichas de aula. Mas a gente deveria achar que aquilo é o básico, tá? Que a gente pode aprender mais. Então, esse livro, Guia de Economia Comportamental e Experimental, da Bianchi e da Ávila, é legal. Esse do Dan Ariely, Previsivelmente Irracional, é muito bom, muito legal o livro também. E está tudo lá disponível no Minha Biblioteca. Ok? All right, so basically this is it. This is what I had to talk today. But let me check with you if you have questions. Otherwise, I'm going to start talking a little bit about the very topic we came here to study, behavior economics. Alguém tem alguma pergunta, alguma dúvida? I can see that Caio is at UFRPE, right, Caio? Is anyone else at school? O Caio tá lá na Rural, não tá? Tem mais alguém que tá na Rural? You probably have the second class. Ó, o Jorge também tá, o Bruno. Eita, tem muita gente, cara. Vocês têm a segunda aula hoje, é isso? Ou não sabia se a nossa aula ia ser? Caramba, a maioria de vocês está na Rural. Wow, I didn't expect that. But then again, at least on Wednesdays, our class will be the second one. So some of you may be in the bus coming home or maybe also at home, right? Yeah. I'm sorry, it's going to be okay. Just be careful for people trying to steal your cell phones, okay? If you're taking the bus watching the class, be careful so people don't take your phone from you. It happens a lot, unfortunately, right? All right, then, so let me take here my first class notes, and you guys will have a link for it later, not later tonight, by Monday. By Monday, I'm going to post the class notes for you. So let me just show you what they look like. So you're going to recognize them when you receive them later. All right, it's here. To be good. Okay, let me open this up. X1 and 2. Okay, I got it. It is strangely slow. Okay, I got it here. Let me just check here. I think someone said something at our chat. Professor, usually how long after the class do you post it at YouTube? Pedro, geralmente eu aplico a aula na quarta-feira e aí na quinta de tarde já está no YouTube. Geralmente é assim. Mas quando é aula de sexta-feira, eu geralmente disponibilizo na manhã da sexta. E aí vocês assistem a hora que quiser, né? Não precisa assistir na hora 18h30 da sexta-feira. Pode assistir no sábado, domingo, segunda, quando for. Mas geralmente eu coloco uma gravação na quinta, que é a gravação do dia anterior, e uma gravação na sexta de manhã, que é aquela para a partir da noite da sexta vocês poderem acompanhá-la. All right, thank you, Pedro. So let me share here with you so you can take a look at what they look like. They look like this. All right. So it's a PowerPoint presentation. I always show you examinissages. You guys know what this means, right? Todo mundo sabe o que significa essa criaturinha aqui, ó. Examinissages. Isso aqui é latim, está escrito em latim. A colheita conforme a semeadura. Algo do tipo assim, tu vai colher o que você plantou. So this is the motto of our university. We expect to get good fruits because we sow with care, you know, we do carefully. All right, so let me take a look at this. Let me tell you this story so we can finish class tonight, okay? So take this case, for example, right? Have you guys heard about this review, this magazine called The Economist? Então, tem uma das revistas mais importantes do mundo na área de economia que chama O Economista, The Economist, okay? So, some time ago, if you wanted to subscribe to this magazine, you had three options. Take a look here. If you want to have only the online version of the magazine, you could have it and pay only 59 bucks, only $59. If you multiply that by 5, it's going to be something around 300 reais, okay? So this is for annual subscription of the magazine. Então paga 300 reais, você tem acesso anual mas apenas a versão online da revista, tá? Now, the second option goes like this. If you want to get the magazine itself, like the physical version, delivered to your home, then you would have to pay $125. Multiply that by 5. This is going to be like 650, right? Yeah, something around that. So it's like twice as much, more than twice as much. But check this out. You had a third option. So if you had the printed copy and you also have the access to the online version, it is like the same cost. You still would be paying $125. Now look at those options. Who would like to explain to me what these guys are trying to do? Quem é que gostaria? Pode falar em português, inglês, alemão ou francês. Quem é que gostaria de tentar me explicar que danada essa revista está querendo? A versão online custa $59. A versão impressa só custa $125. Se você comprar a versão impressa com a versão online junto, sai os mesmos $125.
They trying to go completely digital.
You think so?
Yeah.
They want to force everybody to go all the way to digital?
Yep.
Well, that's a good guess. Who else would like to try an explanation? So Mateus is saying here at the chat, they're trying to sell both. So they want you to pick the third option, right, Mateus? All right. So Jorge is saying here, they want to make the third option more appealing. They want to make it look more cheaper or something like that. Yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, I think Jorge is closer to a good explanation for this behavior, okay? But it turns out that this guy named Richard Thaler, which later received the Nobel Prize for his contribution to behavior economics, he asked the magazine what they had in mind. Então esse cara, que mais tarde foi agraciado com o Prêmio Nobel de Economia pelas suas contribuições para a economia comportamental, esse cara mandou uma carta para a revista e falou assim: que diabos vocês estão querendo com isso? Me explique, por favor. You know what they did? They just changed the options. But I'm going ahead of the explanation here. Let me show you first what happened when the original options were up, okay? So when you had these three choices, oh, wait, let me go here. Okay, when you had these three options, 84% of the people would take the third option, okay? So it goes like the way Jorge was saying. And they were kind of forcing the idea that you had an advantage to pick the third option. In other words, if you pay $125, you are paying for the printed copy and you are getting an extra of accessing the content online too, okay? So that was the main idea and it worked. But after this guy he asked the question, these guys didn't know what to do. So they basically eliminated the second option. So if you eliminate the second option, what do you think is going to happen? It turns out that eliminating the second option, the one that no one would pick, when they eliminated that, look what happened. There was like a complete reverse of what was going on. 68% of the people moved to the online subscription only. Now, if you look at this from like a conventional economics perspective, you're going to say, it doesn't make sense. Now, check this out. I'm going to show to you again. When you had the three options, the first, the second, and the third, no one would pick the second. Not a single person would say, oh, I just want the printed copy. So no one wanted that, all right? When you eliminated a choice that no one would pick, it turns out the behavior changed drastically. So you look at this from a conventional economic perspective and you say, it doesn't make sense. People are not rational. People are not make decisions that are consistent. Somehow there is some sort of information in this strange second option. Tem alguma informação a mais que é carregada por essa segunda opção e que ela altera a decisão das pessoas. Now, when you look at this kind of stuff, you say, conventional economics cannot explain this thing entirely. You have to reach out for psychology. You have to understand exactly what is the brain, how the brain works. Oh, by the way, if you take ChatGPT and ask him to make a choice for this, and then ask him to make a choice for this, ChatGPT would make the same choice. It would never change. So it turns out that we are talking about human brain. The thing is, the central point here is that the way our brains work, it's not the way we think they do. And you can ask yourself, as Dan O'Reilly suggested, okay? How many times over the last 30 days, how many times did I eat too much? I text while driving. I read my WhatsApp while driving. I spent money and regretted afterwards. How many times did I spend too much time on social networks? How many times have I procrastinated? Oh, check this one. How many times I have went to bed so late because I was watching Netflix or something like that, and the other day I regretted because I was too sleepy to work, to study. So when you look at those questions, and it keeps going, how many times I didn't spend enough time with my kids, how many times I took drugs that weren't prescribed to me, but a friend told me that they were good. So it looks like we are talking about brain defects, right? When you answer all the questions, it's easy for you to think that my point here is that our brain is useless. But that's not my point, okay, guys? Don't worry. Eu não estou aqui para mostrar para vocês que o nosso cérebro é um idiota, que nós somos incapazes de fazer escolhas. Não é isso. It turns out that our brains, they are the most amazing machines that we know in the whole universe, okay? They are fantastic. But they do not have the sort of rationality that we think they have. Ok? O problema não é com o nosso cérebro, é a nossa má interpretação de o que é racionalidade humana. A racionalidade humana não é a sequência lógica de tomar decisões consistentes, sempre usando toda a informação disponível. Não é isso a racionalidade humana. And we're going to learn what exactly is the rationality, the human rationality, throughout this class, okay? So just before I finish this class tonight, let me just tell you what is the big plan. First, we're going to talk about individual behavior. So we're going to focus on the particulars of how the brain makes choices, okay? We're going to try and understand many things related to our minds, our decisions, our mistakes, the things that we are good at, the things that we are not so good at, but all initially from this individual perspective. That's right, Lucas. We're going to talk about biases and heuristics, right? Somehow we save resources. A gente poupa recursos mentais, às vezes tomando decisões de uma maneira mais simples do que deveríamos. All right, so this is the first part. Then we're going to move to a larger perspective, and we're going to talk about how people make decisions differently. They behave differently when they are in groups. Especially in the second case here, we're going to talk about ethical behavior. Pessoal, nesse segundo ponto aqui, a gente vai falar sobre comportamento ético. Vocês vão ficar de cara como que uma boa parte dos desvios éticos tem um componente social, tem um componente de dinâmica de grupo ali bem maior do que a gente imagina. What I'm not going to tell you that we only make mistakes like unintentionally. No, there are bad people out there, okay? No denying that. What we are going to try and show that many good people make poor choices. And then we have to look at what is going on at those organizations, okay? Bruno is asking here if we are going to talk about ESG. Yeah, we're going to talk about sustainability. Not exactly ESG, but we're going to talk about how hard it is for companies to change in face of climate change and sustainability issues and all of that. So yeah, we're going to discuss some of it. And finally, we're going to talk about social behavior. So what happens in Brazil, for example? I remember asking this question for my students in Economia 1, and what happens with Brazilian people that they would love to go to Disney, but they have never gone to Foz do Iguaçu. They have never been to Amazonia, and they are crazy about going to Disney. And for the rest of the world, that doesn't make sense. Que diabo acontece num brasileiro ser louco para ir visitar a Disney, mas não ter vontade de conhecer a Amazônia, ou não ter a mesma vontade de conhecer Foz do Iguaçu, que são pontos turísticos de interesse mundial. Lucas is telling me that he went to Foz. I envy you, Lucas. This is, my dream. I'm certain that I still go there. All right, so this is the big plan. We're going to move from the smaller perspective to the larger one, and we're going to talk about lots and lots of societal challenges in between. Okay? Let me see if I have any question before I stop recording. Oh, and by the way, every single class, when I stop recording, I will say the same thing. Okay, guys, have a good night. I'm going to stop recording, and I'm going to be here for a few more minutes if you want to talk to me in Portuguese, in English, or something like that. So sometimes people prefer to discuss with me after I stop recording, and that's okay too. I'm going to always try to finish a little bit earlier so you guys have that chance, okay? Questions, comments, suggestions, complaints? Anyone? Beleza, pessoal. Olha, se alguém teve algum problema para entender, se alguém achou difícil o inglês, fala comigo depois, a gente pode dar algumas dicas aí. Vamos falar sobre gatilhos mentais, sim, Bruno. Vamos falar do nudge, empurrãozinho, gatilhos mentais. Vamos falar da heurísticas, que a melhor maneira de falar seria regrinhas de bolso, melhor tradução que a gente tem. Vamos falar dos vieses cognitivos, que são muitos. A gente não vai poder discutir todos, que senão a gente ficaria só falando de vieses cognitivos. Mas a gente vai falar dessas curiosidades que ajudam a entender tão bem como que a gente comete erros previsíveis. Very good. All right, everybody. So this is it for tonight. I